workshop. Welcome to the workshop. We got 5 quick tips for you this week on woodworking. So, without further ado, 5 quick woodworking tips. The first tip is blue tape. Okay, so blue tape is used a lot when gluing. And so what often I'll do is I'll set up blue tape in advance and set it up for gluing. So I'll just roll a bead of glue here through the whole project, everywhere I want to get it, and put lots and lots of blue tape everywhere, and then make them like little hinges, and then put them up at the very end. And you can even put in square brackets there to keep the edges at an actual square. And then when you put the square pieces in here that you don't actually glue in, you just kind of fit them in there, then what you can do is you can tape this down, and then you don't need to use any clamps, especially on small projects, small, tiny things that don't have to be perfect. This is a great way to do that. So, yeah, for blue tape, tip number 1. Tip number 2, we've mentioned this before, and this is awesome. This is kind of one of my favorite tools in the shop, and I think that's why we've mentioned it probably twice in a few videos. These, you can pick them up at Lowe's, and they fit on 5-gallon buckets. Absolutely amazing. They're a great tool tip, and we love them. So you just sweep right into the 5-gallon bucket, and you empty the 5-gallon bucket wherever you want to go. They're amazing. So dustbins that fit on 5-gallon buckets. Tip number 2. Tip number 3, a mustard bottle. Mustard bottles are amazing for glue. Make sure you clean them out first. Rinse them out, dry them out, do all that sort of thing. We buy glue in bulk because we do a ton of projects. And so we use a container. Now they have a glue bots and a bunch of different containers for glue, but we're cheap and we go through them a lot. We don't really care if they get plugged up. We don't bother cleaning them out because we just use mustard bottles. So this one lasts us forever, and we love it. So mustard bottles are great for glue. Tip number 4, a hammer. One of the coolest tools that you can make by yourself in a shop is a hammer. And you can make it for yourself, by yourself. It's awesome. And all different sizes, you make it to whatever needs you have, and you can make multiple hammers. We put an angle on ours. You can see both sides are angled in, and that's just so that when you hammer, the hammer lays flat. If it was a square, you'd see that it would only be hitting, it just doesn't work. So the angle is really nice for what we use. Dom and I use the same angle, so depending on the height of your table, the angle will differ. But figure out what angle works for you and make a hammer. We have a video on that as well. The 5th tip is brown paper bags. Brown paper bags are amazing for finish work. And so what we do is we usually use 80 grit, 120 grit, and 220 grit for sanding. And our final project is with 220 grit. After we put a clear coat on it, though, and maybe 2 or 3 clear coats with the 220 grit, we have the final coat on. And after the final coat's on, you hit it with brown paper bags. And brown paper bags are just like a grit. Super, super, super fine. It's amazing, and it scrubs it down, and it gets it flat. It's beautiful and soft. Amazing. Do you ever wonder how people get tables that are just glorious and soft and wonderful, and you're like, I'm using 220 grit. Well, when you're done with your project and you think everything's all done and you've had your last coat on, try rubbing it down with a brown paper bag and see if that works. Just remember, don't use the side with all the printing. You don't want the printing to rub off. And those are 5 tips. So if you like videos like these, and we put out a ton, this is just a quick tips video, but we put out a ton of different content, and it comes out every Friday. So like and subscribe and click on that bell notification because you don't want to miss any of these videos. So until next week, see ya.